What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a game called Deadnaut Signal Lost, which comes from one of my favorite indie developers, Screwfly. If there's something you can say about Screwfly games, it's that their games may not be flawless, but every single time they come out with a title, it is something new and unique that you've never seen before. And like 10 years ago, every single indie game was kind of like this, where people were playing around with a lot of weird ideas. But over time, as the industry is homogenized and like the types of games that we get have all become very standardized and built by Blueprint, Screwfly is still here, occasionally putting out a game that's weird and wild and definitely leaves an impression. So today we're going to be taking a look at Deadnaut Signal Lost because I covered this game as a demo, but I never got around to coming back and checking out the game after it had like a year and a half worth of updates. And so I figured this would be a good opportunity to do so since the weekend was looking a little bit dead. So if after watching this you wanted to get Deadnaut Signal Lost for yourself, I got a link for you down below in the description. You can check out the game there. On top of that, you can also take a look down there to find a bunch of other Nerd Castle links. But let's dive on into the game, let's have a good time, and let's see if we can kill 30 minutes and decide whether or not this is the title for you. This game is a classic roguelike, so when you're dead, you are dead. There is no more game for you to play. You start over from the beginning. There's no metagame unlocks or anything else like that. But this is a game about taking a wreck diver, basically a character that exists inside of a dystopian universe where we are data brokers. And if you've ever seen the movie Aliens, pluralized, you remember the scenes from the beginning where they're working their way through the facility and everybody has helmet cams, and there's one guy that's like an operator. He's watching all the cameras, he's got blueprints and schematics up, and he's trying to guide them through the facility. This game is exactly like that. You are the operator for a guy called a Deadnaut, which is basically a mercenary for hire that goes out into space to go into spacecraft wrecks or derelict space hulks and bring back as much information as possible about what happened there, including technology and whatnot that you then trade on the black market to get more utilities and tools and things like that that make you more likely to succeed on more sophisticated wrecks. For right now, what I would like to do though is we're going to create a new Deadnaut. And so at the beginning of the game, you've got to pick from a number of different things that determine how good your character is going to be at various activities. But for right now, we need to pick a portrait. I like this grizzly old guy right here. This guy feels like the guy that's gonna survive. This dude feels like the guy that's seen it all. Like, if you survive to be this age inside the universe of Deadnaut, then you're probably a badass. You're probably like a scary dude. From there, we need to pick a suit. Every single suit has a different specialty. So you've got everything from energy suits. These are gonna focus on laser weaponry and protecting from laser weaponry, and generally being very, very defensive by comparison to a lot of the other suits. You've got security. That's exactly what it says on the tin. This is a guy that fights. He throws down with the enemy, and he's here to wipe out Xenos everywhere that he sees them. You can also get things like the labor suit, so this guy is very, very dominant in melee. He's all about just brute forcing your way through the facility. You can go with tech. This guy has lots of supplementary utilities, scanners, hackers, things of that nature, but unfortunately, he's not very good in combat. So if he catches himself surrounded by a lot of enemies, he's going to have a bad time and probably get reduced down to xenomulch. And then, of course, you've got the sensor suit, which is all about information, knowing what you're walking into, knowing what threats are out there. And so this guy is very, very good, but it's like sneaking through facilities, avoiding enemies entirely, but he's not terrible at fighting either. For right now, for the sake of keeping things interesting, I feel like our guy, from what I looked at, he's a security suit kind of guy. He's a guy that's out here to get rough and tumble with the enemies. So let's go ahead and get him named. We'll just call him Splat. There we go. And then we also get to assign stats over here should we desire to do so. You can see what the effects are of all of these stats by just watching the sliders over here on the right, and then you can also mouse over them to get pop-up tooltips about what it's helping or what it's harming. But I'm pretty happy with my setup right now. Like, I think this is going to be perfectly fine. We're not going to be super good at breaching, but like, we should be all right. We also need to pick our tech training over here, so let's change our fragments around. I will probably go with sensor training, and I think that I would like to have, I mean, we can leave booby traps around, but I don't know about that. We'll maybe go with like vision cone enhancements right there, because these are what's going to specialize your character into further technological advancements. So some guys use a lot of drones and turrets. Some guys are very stealthy. The things you pick down here are going to kind of affect that sort of stuff. And then if you want to, you can take a sigil pair over here. The sigil pair will allow you to get bonuses, but it will also allow you to get a downside, a malice basically, but we'll probably leave those alone for the moment. We'll save and close, and it's time for cranky old Grandpa Splat to go down into some space wrecks and see if we can make some money. So one of the things that Screwfly has always done very, very well as a developer is that their games are incredibly immersive and atmospheric. So if you've never played any of their games before, I recommend taking a look at Fear Equation, the first Deadnaut. They've also got like Zafe House Diaries and a number of other ones that they did. These games are all about big, heavy, analog, clunky UIs that are very much trying to emulate those Ridley Scott ideas of building up tension and terror as you're moving through these shipwrecks that maybe nobody's been on board for like 100 years, but you're gonna get lots of these little DOS prompt pop-ups and whatnot. They're gonna have lots of things that sound and feel like what Mother sounded like in Alien when she was processing data and things of that nature. None of this stuff right here is really gonna affect the gameplay aside from really getting you into the swing of how things work. And so at the moment, our hardware is all initializing and getting us set up for our incursion on into the space wreck. And so we're preparing for a star jump right now, and it's going to take us to the map. The way that this game functions is very similar to FTL. You have a node, you have to resolve some kind of problem on that node before you can go to the next node. And almost universally, it's going to be like you diving down into a ship. So for example, here we have a seed ship. Researchers at this location may have worked out a better way to clone humans, steal that technology, and on the next mission, the cloning station will be automatically activated. There you go, it's not too bad. We've also got a scout craft over here. This ship has information related to Deadnaut activity. Destroy it to reduce the number of benefactors that will spawn into the next mission. There's also other things we might want to take a look at on the diagnostics of each of these ships. So for example, on the seed ship, this little check mark right here, it means that the decks, they are stable. This ship is not falling apart because that's a thing that this game takes into account. Every time you fire a gun at an enemy and you miss, it hits a bulkhead and it causes damage to the overall ship's integrity, and it can be real bad when ships start to fall apart with you inside of them, but this one's good to go. It has 4 separate decks that we're going to have to search for our objective. It looks like we also have ghouls on board, so we're aware of that. Space zombies. There are like a number of, like 4 or 5 different factions of enemies that can be on board. Everything from cultists to people that have gone psychotic and they're now acting like reavers, a la something like Firefly. There's shades, shadows, there are xenos. This one has ghouls. It looks like the security hostility right here. Every ship in this game has a system called the AD-80. It's the automated defense security system, and it's comprised of a couple of different things. And so there's the Watcher is the main one that you're going to be interacting with, which is it's not like a sentient AI, it's like a shackled AI that looks around the ship and like knows to turn out the lights and like close doors and stuff like that. It'll also occasionally do like an EM pulse, and since we're wired into this operative's brain, that's not a good thing if an EM pulse goes off for him or for us. We've also got no benefactors on board, which is good. This would probably be the easier one to scout out in the early game because it's only got the 1 floor. However, the possibility for making money, because we get money for every piece of information that we find on board, is much larger with the seed ship. So let's keep it simple for right now. We'll just go for this little tiny scout ship right here, because this guy right here could potentially take up a big chunk of the video because it's so large. Let's transmit the location to our Deadnaut so that he knows to make a breach, and now we're going to start synchronizing with him. The game does have lots of these little animations. They are unfortunately not skippable. I haven't gone through the options yet to see if you can disable them and just get straight into the action headway. But the nice thing about these little animations is that it does make the game incredibly immersive and atmospheric, to the point where this is definitely one of those games that benefits from you playing in the dark at night with your headphones turned up all the way. We're going to jump to that location, and once we arrive, we're going to start the breach process. Okay, our Deadnaut is away, and he's on his way to breach. We're now looking for a door that you can breach, and honestly, I think that this right here, just being sort of like a video that plays, little bit of a bummer. It would have been a really good idea to have you as the operator find and choose the door that you're willing to risk sending your Deadnaut through, but what it's checking for here on each door is basically how present are automated defenses, how well put together is this breach location, and is it powered? that's all that it's looking for. But it would have been really cool to have a mini game right here that raises and lowers the structural integrity of the ship and the power that's available when you go on in. But we've made it through our door, and this is what we're going to be looking at for the remainder of our sojourn into Parts Unknown. So things you need to be aware of once you actually get into the ship. Blue dot, that's our operator. If he dies, that's not good and we lose the game. HP's listed up here in the top left. We also have this character's dread, the Deadnaut. So this basically accounts for threats that they can see, but also threats, you know, like when the hairs stand up on the back of your neck and like something's off, it also accounts for that. The higher the dread level goes up, that's not good. We also have the structural integrity of the ship right here. Like I said, every time we fire at an enemy and we miss, it degrades the overall ship, and we're going to have to, like, deal with that. We have our weapon loadouts on this side. We came in equipped with a standard rifle. We also have a knife. If you press the X key, you have 2 loadouts by default on every single diver. And so we've also got a shotgun and a pistol over here. Do not neglect your pistol. Your pistol comes with a pretty sweet ability that can save your life. Down at the bottom, we've got abilities that our Deadnaut can use, so we can enhance our armor to get more mitigative effects. We've got opportunity fire, which is that pistol ability that I was talking about. Basically, you get a free shot every single time an enemy moves around inside your radius, which can be fantastic for kiting and running away, which is going to be particularly important since we're going up against a zombie ship. We've also got assisted targeting, just makes us more accurate with our rifle, and then we have fast reveal, which comes from the add-on shards that we selected during character creation. Any enemy that's on screen, we don't know what they are until we scan them for a certain number of requisite turns, and so this will automatically identify what they are so that we can see their health and like their debuff information inside this little window in the bottom right. This right here is a transponder. We'll check it. We got $189 for that, and it's a log. Modified ships evading the benefactor's detection. Wayfarers traverse rip space undetected and gain insights into alternative technologies. These are procedural, so sometimes they don't really make a whole lot of sense. One complaint I do have about this game is just that it doesn't spend a lot of time on world building, which is a weird thing to say considering how atmospheric this game is and how easy it is to get immersed inside of here. We have a door on this side. Our character controls simply with W, A, S, and D. This is the progress bar for how long it's taking us to wrench open this door, and so let me wrench it open real fast. And this room is lit. That's what it means when a room is orange. It means that the room has illumination sources that are online. It doesn't look like there's... Oh, we have a ghoul back here, and it's a fast one, too. All right, let's fall back. So this is a shambler. I'm going to try... This is on my E key. Let's fire a shot at him. Unfortunately, we missed. Let's fire again. Okay, he's at half health, and he's now down. You activate your weapons with the hotkeys that are denoted over here. Some weapons can only be used at certain ranges, but you'll notice the structural integrity went down by 1% because I missed this enemy over here. Another shambler down. We've eliminated him. And just listening. Let me turn my audio up real quick. It definitely sounds like there's more of them on board, so they're probably off to our left from the way that the audio's trending. Let's check this door real quick right here, and our entire goal for this ship is just to scuttle it by blowing it up. We have a red dot over on that side, which we managed to snipe down with our rifle, but we do want to be careful stepping into any unrevealed room. There's another one right there, and unfortunately... the Watcher is inside of this room, I think. Yeah, there it is. So our automated defense detection is now flashing. We can go into F1 mode. And sometimes, depending on what utilities you have available, it'll show like a vision cone. But let me explain to you how automated defense AIs work. They roam from room to room. They're invisible. They're inchoate. They exist inside the data space. There's no way for us as a combat character to interact with them. But what they're going to do is they're basically checking this room to make sure that it's the way it's supposed to be by default spec. So they're going to enter... they're going to teleport, basically, in between these rooms, and then they're going to move to the center. You can't see them doing this. You've got to judge it by the amount of static that's on your screen, unless you have a scanner or, like, hacking tools. And when they get to the center of the room, they're going to light off an EM pulse. That EM pulse is going to reset doors and reset lighting back to its default state on the spec of this ship. But Watchers cannot affect you if you're inside of a corridor. So sometimes it's not a bad idea to just stay inside the corridor until they move on. We've got another shambler right there. We took him down, though. And just, like, check and see if he's moved on. He hasn't moved on yet, but we do have shamblers that are intruding on this area from various other places. I think it's possible that the Watcher has moved on. This is one of those things that you kind of just have to use your gut for. We got another contact up here. Let's take him. He's now down. Another contact to the south. This ship is stacked with contacts, but we need to find our way to the engine room, and we need to plant a charge on the engine. We found our way to the crew quarters, but the Watcher is in there right now, so we're going to have to wait for him to mosey along. It looks like he moved. You can pass a turn with the space bar, just like in every other game like this. There is a door on our left right here. We'll want to keep that in mind in case we have to evac this area. Airlock right there, which is an escape vector for us once we find the objective. And we do have a data point right here, 200 bucks. We found a suit upgrade. It's a static scanner. This right here is a cloning station. If our HP gets low, we can go to the cloning station. We can interact with it to get our HP back. It also gives us a free res for our Deadnaut in case he dies. And so just things to keep in mind. This is a dead end, but it is helpful in case the Watcher comes back. We do have blinky blinkies on the AD. Oh, we didn't really get static from that one, which is kind of unfortunate. So we took a little bit of damage right there. But we do need to get out of this room, and we need to hang tight over here until our static goes away. All right, static's gone. Let's press out to the left. We'll just take this nice and slow till we find the engine room. We found a engine room. I don't know if it's the right engine room, but it's a room. Let's see here. There's some kind of respiratory illness going around. Rivera was the first to come down with it just after we dropped out of RIP space. With the recent reports of food contamination, I'm wondering if RIP tunnels are as safe as we think. Okay. Let's move up this way. We'll grab that body right there. Rivera had a coughing fit, blood and spit flying everywhere. Everyone around him is now in quarantine. Is our objective inside of here? It's not. And we haven't found any information on any of these bodies that, like, reveals the deck layout to us either. Oh, dude, this room's so risky. I hate going through this big, long room. Yeah, this room is a problem for a number of reasons. One-shotted that ghoul, one-shotted that one. That's exactly the outcome that we're looking for here. Oh, there's so many of them. Okay, let's fall back. Activate our accuracy ability. That one's down. Where'd the other ones go? There's one right there. He's down. Let's go south out of this room because we haven't checked it yet. We have a little branching path right here. I don't like dead ends, though. Dead ends make me feel nervous. Let's go down to the end of the corridor. Okay, nothing there. We do have an enemy over on this side. Let's light him up. He's down. Engine 1, and there's our target right there. This is what we're trying to blow up. We do have an airlock right next to us, which is really, really good. Okay, Shambler's down. Let's plant this bomb and let's get the hell out of here. Alright, the bomb has been planted. We just got to get to an airlock. Luckily, there's one in the room with us. We'll confirm our evacuation, and we are out of here. Our first Deadnaut dive, very, very successful. We only took 1 damage, so I'll take that. So Deadnaut's back inside the ship. As far as health goes, he was in good shape when we got back. We explored more than he would have liked, and so there you go. He's gained trust. This right here, so basically your Deadnaut has a level of how much he trusts you as an operator. If you let him take too much damage, that harms your trust, and he may go rogue. And each one of these guys has a device in their brain that for emergency purposes, I can take over them and puppet them. They may go rogue, and you may have to puppet them, and puppeting somebody comes with a whole bunch of downsides, unfortunately, in order to get them moving. And so you don't really want to have to puppet your Deadnaut. You want them to follow your directions implicitly just because they trust you. And so we explored a little bit more than he would have liked. These guys are military guys. they want to get in, get out, and do the mission as fast as possible. So the more you explore around, the more cranky they get about it. I know it's kind of counterintuitive, but when you think about it from the perspective of this like lone Delta Force operator, he's expecting you as his operator to get him in and out as cleanly as possible and as profitably as possible while you're going through here. And so if you dither too much, it makes them upset with you. They just want to get it done. So next up, we've got a new location that we can go to. In deep space, we've got a wrecker over here. We've detected a contaminated rip matter in this location's waste disposal unit. Activate the disposal system and destroy it. Okay, I don't know what rip matter is, but it's referred to a lot in all of the text logs. So after this mission, we do get a black market connection that will allow us to do some trading with the finances that we just took out of the ship. This place also has ghouls, which is actually good for us. I find ghouls to be like the easiest enemies to deal with. The ones that I dislike are the ones that are much more theoretical, like shades and things like that. They can be a pain in the dick to really like get rid of. Security hostility's fine, and we don't have benefactors on board. I don't think there's much to do except transmit the location to our wreck diver, and let's do this thing. All right, so I took the liberty of actually editing out the landing process on this one because I noticed it was eating up a lot of video real estate. But let's get in here. We've got to activate this disposal system because there's apparently some kind of biological thing inside the garbage dumpsters that we don't want to have here. The good news is we only really have to worry a little bit about ghouls. There's nothing inside of here that we can loot, so let's just go ahead and call it and get. I don't like being center room like this. Like, whenever I'm in the center of a big room like this red dot starts to boop, and I know I'm about to get EM'd, and there's no way to get to the hallway in time. New Horizons. Lost more and more settlements. The shipping lanes are too dangerous to use. It can't be denied any longer. Horizon is shrinking. Okay. We're in. Let's take it nice and slow in the corridor. I didn't see any other doors that sort of implied there was anywhere to go. We do have a storeroom over here, and it's sealed on both sides. Let's try left first. I didn't pay attention to how many decks were on this ship, though, so our ultimate target may be on a different floor. I hear the grumbling of zombies from inside of here. I feel like we're definitely going to make contact at some point. Let's check up this way before we peel open any more bulkheads. Oh, we've got an armory. That's usually a good sign. We have a contact on the left over here. Light him up. Okay, he's down. Looks like we've got a whole bunch of storage lockers over here. But I don't see anything that looks lootable. Let's get this open. Okay, big old dead end, and if zombies spawn behind us, that's exactly what I was worried about right there. Luckily, we one-shotted the guys, so we should be solid. As far as randomization goes with this game, we got really, really lucky getting, like, opening zombie missions. Because if you get, like, opening cultist missions or, like, opening reaver missions, they can get really nasty really fast. Storeroom 2-5. Oh, God. Okay, they're everywhere. Light them up. All right, we're good. Check to the right over here, and it looks like we've got a storeroom, but it does have loot inside of it. 141 bucks, some new grenade tech on the market. Flashbangs, smoke screens, and something that reduces environmental damage. Yeah, that'd be nice to have you get out of here. And nobody trying to deal with you. All right, another zombie down. We got another sensor contact right there. Luckily, we one-tapped him. This place is big, dude. Our exploration bonus is gonna... Oh, Christ. Run! He is very much not dead, and I need him to be dead. So Shamblers have this ability they can occasionally use that allows them to, like, sprint towards you for a second. Just keep backpedaling, and you'll probably be okay. We've got another armory on this side. We've got the map of the current deck. Good. So that means we can come over to here, and we can actually take a look around, and we can figure out what it is that we're looking for. So on this floor, we don't have any... So we're looking for a garbage disposal, I think is what we're looking for. Elevator's over there on the left, so that's where we need to get to. I wish we had found that a little bit earlier. We probably could have saved our exploration score if we had. But let's get... Oh, actually, don't shoot at him. Don't shoot at him. Don't shoot at him. Get 2 spaces away from him. Swap over. Activate your pistol ability. There we go. We get free shots with our pistol every time we move if something's attacking us. And so, oh, God. All right, there's another one. Yeah, we can probably shotgun him. Oh, there's one on the other side. That's super bad. Okay, let's just make for the elevator, swap back over to our rifle and our knife. And we got a long walk back to this elevator. Unfortunately. I hear him, but I don't see him. Yeah, take the elevator down. We've got to find... Oh, not good. We spawned into a room where the Watcher is. Alright, let's just chill. So we know the Watcher is active on this floor. There's something down to our southeast. I don't know what it is, but it's something that's pinging on our map right now. We got a zombie down. We got another zombie down. Disposal. This is actually where we're supposed to be. We found a body, but there was nothing on it, but we still got money for determining that the person was dead and verifying. So is this our guy right here? That is. We can activate the disposal system or we can stay in a little while longer. As long as we don't take damage, I think we can stay in a little while longer. I think we'll be alright. Let's go see what's in some of these other rooms, or at least if we can get a floor plan or a map or something. Watcher's in that room, so we need to fall back for a second. We have enemies coming from the other direction, so we got a number of different problems. Did you get him? Nope, he moved out of the way. Grab whatever that is. A communication log. Someone was skimming blueprints. I'm uploading the last known position. Where was the blueprint at? In that room right there? Okay, let's go grab the blueprint because we can manufacture some of this stuff. Finding a blueprint in this game, basically... Oh no. Watcher, get back to the hallway. Hang tight. Pick off what threats we can pick off while staying near the door. I don't have red boopies happening right now asking for a squelch, so I think we'll be alright. The downside is, wherever the Watcher went, it's probably adjacent to this, so there's a strong chance the Watcher may be in here. There's our blueprint, so we got a suit upgrade for calibrated. We'll have to look that up when we get to the actual loadout screen to figure out what it does, because I don't actually know. But let's go hit the button over here. The airlock that is available for us to escape through is over on that side, and we have 240 turns to get out of here. Okay. Let's move, but let's not overstep. We've got time to fight whatever threats come up. We're alright. Alright, let's get out of here. So calibrated increases the accuracy of any currently equipped ranged weapon. Very nice. So that's just like an active ability that we can kick on in. Not super great because we already have one built into our class, but like, you know. We did pretty good on that one. Trust levels up. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I like to have lots of leeway with trust in case a mission goes sideways and we lose a couple pips. So it's nice to have that. We are now connected to the black market and purchasing is enabled. So the black market, you can buy all kinds of things and stuff. Inside the black market, you're basically trading all of the data that you have, that you've gathered so far, for tangible objects that are going to help you in your mission. So for example, I really like having a scanner, so I would suggest that we get one. We can also get the sensor, which allows us to ping a room before we walk into it. That's going to be important later on in the game when the threats get much more nasty than what we've been up against right now. Believe me, this game is full of things that'll one-shot kill you Caves of Cud style if you're not prepared for them. So I think I will buy a scanner real fast, a sensor, And I'll also buy a scanner because I feel just more comfortable when I have them inside my inventory. A hacking tool might not be the worst idea because that allows us to actually hack the system that the Watcher functions through, and allows us to do things like seal doors remotely. It allows us to like turn the lights on and off, which gives accuracy bonuses. Just kind of depends what you want to do. As far as guns go, they've got an energy beam over here that we could play around with. I'd be interested in swapping out the energy beam for my shotgun maybe, but like, I don't know. As far as secondary weapons go, we've got field generators. We've got all kinds of little things in here, like cloaking devices, little things to play around with when building your character and getting stronger. We can also get armor shards that allow us to kit out versus what the enemy is strong, and I do recommend grabbing these right here because every elemental type of enemy uses different weapons and whatnot, and having one that you can slot in for a mission that it is pertinent to can be very, very helpful. So we'll grab some of those. And then as far as the tools go, I think we bought just about everything. An injector might not be a bad idea. This is basically an elemental affinity that you add onto your weapon for like poison, fire, EMP, all that kind of stuff. I would say that for right now, kinetic is probably what we want because we're a ranged character, and kinetic gives you a chance to knock the enemy back when you smack them. And so for our loadout, for example, we could get a kinetic injector over here. We can drop the knife because I don't think the knife is actually ever going to be helpful. And then we could put like, let's put the ping in right there so that we can basically throw a pup into the room. And when we throw that in there, it'll ping the room for us. And we'll put a scanner on this loadout over here. Oh, it's only a secondary. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get the secondary right there. I was going to try to run a pistol as a primary because I don't really like the shotgun in this game. There are some imbalances in this game with the equipment and some of the abilities. On top of that, when you're inside of the black market, you can also go to skill trees. These skill trees over here will make you better at all kinds of stuff. They all give you active abilities. They might make you better at hacking in certain ways. You also get one for the suit that you're attuned to right now, so we can specialize in like pistols and get a bunch of different pistol abilities. You could get an extra round being fired for 10 turns after you activate that ability. You can make it so that your gun's cooldown goes down. All kinds of little things that you can play around with inside of here and kind of build out your character to be better at certain weapon types and things of that nature, and there are different skill trees for the different suits as well. But we've kind of run out of time right now. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today it was Deadnaut Signal Lost. The things that I think are weaknesses about this game are just the things that I brought up. Stuff like it's kind of hard to piece out. Like, I would have liked a lot more information about this universe that we're operating inside of. For a game that's so incredibly immersive and very, very atmospheric, all you ever really get are these weird shards and these weird grasps and handfuls of like things that happened on one specific ship without any reference to things in the greater galaxy. And so I would have liked to have seen, I guess I would have just liked to have learned what kind of universe created the necessity of Deadnauts, I suppose. There are nice arrangement. I did like some of the mission varieties, like the different types of ships, but I did sort of feel like the game could have used a few more decorations for the various ships to make them stand apart as like industrial haulers or like merchant ships, stuff like that to make them more visually distinct. But all in all, I do think that this is actually one of the more immersive roguelikes out there. There's a lot of traditional roguelikes, and typically immersion is not a major focus of any of them because they're going for major replayability and the kind of game where you can die, lose everything, start over, and still have a good time. Whereas this game focuses almost entirely on creating like a soundscape. This game could really be used as like a master's class on how to make your audio work in building up the tension of your game. And so I do very much like this title. I think it's quite good, and we don't get traditional roguelikes very often, so I'm glad that I was able to touch up my coverage on it. Deadnaut Signal Lost. It's time for me to go. Thanks for hanging out, and that's all I got for you, folks. Till later.